you in my heart.
I hold you in my heart.
You are a part of me.
You are a part of me.
You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. In this very room, there's quite enough love for one like me. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for one like me. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For spirit, one spirit, is in this very room.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For spirit, one spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. In this very
Thank you. And good morning. We'd like to ask you all to stand for our opening song, which is We Are One in Harmony. Please join us in singing along.
We are one in harmony, singing in celebration. We are one in harmony, singing in celebration. We are one, singing in celebration. We are one, singing in love. Who we are is ever free, one with all creation. Who we are is ever free, one with all creation. We are one, singing in celebration. We are one, singing in love.
This is a little chance to rock out for a moment.
We are one in harmony, singing in celebration. We are one in harmony, singing in celebration. We are one, singing in celebration. We are one, singing in love. with all creation, we are one. Singing in celebration, we are one. Singing in love, we are one. Singing in celebration, we are one. Singing in love.
Big thanks to Laura Berryhill and Anton Miserak. Whew. And all of you for singing. Good morning. I'm Kimberly Hawkins, Spiritual Director here at Center for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley in partnership with Unity of Medford. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive faith community, and we welcome each and every one of you, no matter where you may happen to be on your own personal spiritual path. I'd like to see if there's anyone here for the very first time. We'd like to give you a little love. If so, would you raise your hand if you're here for the first time? Oh, you're all old-timers, okay. Well, welcome anyway, and welcome to those online. We may have someone new joining us there as well. I'm going to invite you, if you have not already, to please turn your cell phones off or in airplane mode. And I have a couple other people to introduce. Wendy Wellborn is our practitioner doing our invocation and reading this morning. Rev Steph Clark did our meditation and is sitting high watch right now. She's praying throughout the service for the highest and best good for everyone here and everyone listening online. Since it is the first Sunday in February, we'd like to honor our February birthday. So if you have a birthday this month, would you stand up, please? We're going to sing to you. And in CSL Unity style, the last two verses are, happy birthday, we sure do love you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. We sure do love you.
I also want to recognize Will Richardson especially because he was a leap year baby. So really this is he only gets a birthday every 4 years. Happy birthday, Will. Lucky you, right? All right, it is time now to take our collective deep breath as we turn it over to the musicians to prepare us for our opening prayer and reading. And please hold your applause after this song so that we can stay in that nice prayerful state.
Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Wilt thou come, just for once come to me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee.
I invite us to walk through that door in our hearts. knowing that within that space is perfect love, perfect peace, divine right order, everything that we need, everything that we yearn for, everything that we are. In this space, there is only the right thing. And we experience it with this deep, compassionate love. We know that everything unfolds as it should, that we are safe, we are cared for. Our life moves as it should move down that path with joy and ease. We know that in this space of open-heartedness, that we are blessed. The service is blessed. The message will touch us where we need to be touched. It will bless our youth. It will bless all of our families. It will bless those who are online and all of the people that we love as we are transformed by this message. Giving great thanks for knowing that this is our ultimate truth, that we are only blessings, and so it is. My friends, this is Black History Month, and in honor of Black History Month, our reading today comes from a book by Cole Arthur Riley, Black Liturgies, Prayers, Poems, and Meditations for Staying Human. I ask you to bear with me because this one poked me in the arm as I was sitting in that yellow chair over there, so it is not rehearsed. It is in the Liturgy of Selfhood. It is a prayer for the journey back to yourself. And it is a prayer, so if you feel called, you can close your eyes. Steady God, we are shapeshifters, drifting in and out of our counterfeit selves, depending on whom we are in proximity to. There are days when who we are feels so imprecise, so transient, that we wonder if anything of us is real at all. Turn us toward the parts of us that are true and reveal the parts that are more mask than flesh. Keep us from demonizing our false selves, but let us turn to them in curiosity and compassion, knowing every mask is born of a wound. Travel with us into memories of all that has informed us, those secret places in ourselves where we have hesitated to go. And on the journey, may we listen for the sound of our own name. May we speak it with the conviction of one who knows it by heart. And now I invite you into a meditation that follows this prayer. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, I know who I am. Exhale, I am near to myself. Inhale, I am still being made. Exhale, I can honor my becoming. Inhale, I will listen for my voice. Exhale, I come home to myself. Inhale, exhale, and so it is.
I guess this is us. Well, we called Kimberly, as we do every week when we're here, and said, "What's the topic?" She said, "Obstacles." I said, "Oh, there's a lot of songs and new thought about that, aren't there?" So when we couldn't find any, we
Really?
had to write one. Okay, so here we go.
This is Anton's new baby this week, new for you.
Overcoming obstacles overcoming obstacles. Now if I push against a wall and that wall would quickly fall, I'd also fall. Without that wall, I'd fall. And when I look deep inside and find something I'd rather hide, I need to own it, it's mine. And when I overcome it, it will shine, and I will shine. I will shine. 'Cause without gravity I can't even stand, and if I never needed help, I'd never feel a helping hand. Understanding obstacles. Understanding obstacles. Now if we push against a wall and that wall would quickly fall, we'd also fall. Without that wall, we'd fall. And when we look deep inside and find something we'd rather hide, well, that's a sign. We need to own it and say it's mine. Now we may struggle, it may take time, but when we overcome it, we will shine. So let it shine, let us shine. We're all wounded warriors. Let us shine, let us shine, let it shine. It's our badge of freedom, let it shine. 'Cause without gravity we can't even stand. If we never needed help, we'd never feel a helping hand. Understanding obstacles. Understanding obstacles. Embracing possibilities. Embracing possibilities. We're embracing possibilities. Embracing possibilities.
Don't you just love it that if there's not a song appropriate, they just write one? If you never needed help, let's see. If you never needed help, you'd never feel a helping hand. Beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you both so much. So, our topic for February is divine discomfort. My message this morning I've entitled Embracing Discomfort, which is a powerful practice. It's a very powerful practice that can lead to amazing growth and change and transformation, but it's not an easy thing to do. I might have entitled it, Can You Get Comfortable with Being Uncomfortable? And there's a young woman on YouTube named Yubing Zhang who did something that proved the benefits of embracing discomfort by doing something I don't think I will ever choose to do, but I'm going to show you her story. She did a TED Talk, and we're going to watch just the first minute or so of it. Here is the video of Yubing.
It's a cold and foggy winter morning, and I'm standing on the world's tallest bungee platform. The platform I'm standing on is so tiny that I have to stand on my toes and balance myself against the wind. The operator ties one end of the bungee cord to my ankle and throws the slack in the air. I can feel the weight of the rope on my ankles slowly dragging me down. I look down. All the buildings and roads are buried in heavy fog. There is only one voice in my head. I can't do this. So I turn around and tell them that I want to quit. And then I see a huge quote printed on the glass window right next to me. Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. I don't know why, but this short yet powerful sentence gives me the final push, and before I realize it, I walk straight back to the platform and jump off the world's highest bungee platform. During the 5 seconds of free fall, I remember thinking to myself, it's not as scary as it looks. And that thought led to a whole new world. Every time
It led to a whole new world. You can't, Tom or somebody, Bill was wishing we had a bigger monitor because you can actually see tiny little Yubing falling down next to that huge tower. I will never, ever do that, I don't think. I shouldn't say never. Anybody ever done a bungee jump in here? All right, Flavia. Woo! So here's how she said it transformed her. Whenever the voice of fear would come up in her head, as it does, fear of leaving a job, fear of starting a new relationship, fear of public speaking, which is hard to imagine she had that fear. She was amazing in this YouTube talk. She said she would take a deep breath and she would say to herself, it's never as scary as you think. Wow. So I think we've all had moments in life when we've pushed past our comfort zone and done something that we were not comfortable with, that was discomfort, and realized the benefits afterwards. I bet you all have at least one, maybe more. For me, you know, believe it or not, I was terribly shy as a child, as a young child. My mom used to get upset with me because she was trying to teach me manners, and when an adult would speak to me, I was too shy to answer back. When I was in high school, I applied to be an exchange student. My high school used to send 2 students every year abroad. We had fundraisers and it was all paid for. I applied and won a spot to be an exchange student. I decided to go for the summer and not the whole year, which I could have done because I didn't want to give up graduating with my class. So I went with Experiment in International Living to Belgium, expecting to speak French because I was studying French and I loved French. But they placed me in northern Belgium in a small town called Hout-Holland between Antwerp and Brussels. And if any of you know much about Belgian culture, they do not speak French in northern Belgium. They speak a dialect of Dutch called Flemish. So it was interesting and challenging. I spoke French to communicate with my 2 host sisters, English with the 2 host brothers, and learned as much Flemish as I possibly could, because I love languages, to communicate, especially with my mother, who spoke no French and no English. And it was an amazing experience, just amazing. I came back, really, I can tell you, having lost my shyness. You know, having been away from my family for the first time ever in a foreign country and having to just deal with all of that just changed me. So as if I had not had enough, I majored in French in college and decided to go abroad for my junior year. I was 19, spent my 20th birthday there. When I first got there, I was with Wesleyan University's program. So we had professors from the Sorbonne, from the University of Paris, but we were all English-speaking students in the classes. We only had classes, by the way, 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday, so we could travel the rest of the week. It was great. But when I first got to Paris, the program gave us a list of people, French people who rented rooms to students. So I stayed in a hotel in the student quarter, inexpensive, for the first week, called on the payphone. There were no cell phones at that time. Spoke French, found, directions, got on the metro and sought out different places and found myself a place to live. It was actually an apartment. I rented a room in an apartment of an elderly couple in the first arrondissement, which was like a block from the Louvre. It was gorgeous. And it was an amazing year once again. But when I came back home, I honestly had the thought, puffing myself, there's nothing I can't do. If I can go as a 19-year-old to Europe, not speaking the language completely fluently, and find myself a place to live and succeed in classes that are all taught in French and travel all around, what can't I do? So I think the benefits of pushing past our comfort zone can be absolutely enormous. Now, why are we calling the theme divine discomfort? What does the divine have to do with all of this? I think we can choose, as Eubing did and as I did, and I'm sure all of you did at one point in your lives, to do something outside of our comfort zone. Life delivers us plenty of opportunities to feel discomfort, yes? Is there anybody in here who's never felt discomfort? I don't think so. And so I guess what we learn is, just like Anton's saying, that any obstacle put in our way, any hardship, any challenge in life shapes us for the better eventually. And so it's divine discomfort, because the divine doesn't need to punish us, but the divine knows exactly what we need to grow, to expand, to be the best spiritual beings that we're meant to be. Paul reminds the Romans in 8:28, all things work together for the good for those who love God. All things work together for the good. We don't always see it at the beginning, yes? But in the end, I believe this is true. But it takes trust to live with this notion, doesn't it? It takes real faith and trust. We often wish we could just stay comfortable. When things are going well, don't we? Just don't change anything. And good luck with that, of course. Even the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, and we're familiar with various versions of this quote, change is the only constant in life. The personal development coach Tony Robbins said, all growth starts at the end of your comfort zone. And one author went so far as to say, seek out discomfort. It's the only place growth happens. Now, in New Thought teachings, we know that by shifting our thoughts and beliefs to align with the creative power of the universe, we can indeed navigate any change with greater ease and open ourselves to new expansion, new opportunities. Our book of the month this month is one I've been enjoying. It's by Ian Van Sant, and it's called Trust. Mastering the 4 essential trusts: trust in self, trust in God, trust in others, and trust in life. So first, trust in self. Trust in self rather than trust in what everyone else thinks or advises us to do. We all have kind of a boardroom in our head, don't we? Voices of people who think they know what's best for us. I mean, we needed parents to guide us when we were young, so we have parents' voices, we have teachers, we have siblings, we have friends. And so sometimes when we meet a challenge, we have all kinds of voices telling us what we should do. And sometimes it's hard to discern our voice, trust our guidance, that true voice of God within us. It takes some sorting out to really trust ourselves. And then, of course, there's our fear, our ego, our negative ego, which always is scared and acting out of fear. We believe in science of mind and in unity that we all have a direct link to the divine. We don't need an intercessionary. We can hear that voice of God within us always, at any time. But we have to get quiet and listen. Our founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, wrote a document called What We Believe. And he said this about that direct revelation. He said, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Wow. You know that my all-time favorite quote from the Bible is Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge God, and she will direct your paths. She will make your paths straight. It's a tall order, but it's one that helps us live in peace and trust. There's a cute little, and we have to commit to developing our trust muscles. It doesn't happen automatically. And I think the only way we do this, and Ian confirms this in the book, is to have a regular, committed, daily spiritual practice. How can we trust somebody we don't know, right? We shouldn't probably trust somebody we don't know. And if we don't know God, how can we trust God? We all grew up, well, not all of us, but many of us grew up with different kinds of teachings about what God is. And so some of us have to sort through what we were taught about the character and nature of God. For example, when I was a Catholic for a while I was raising my children, when we took communion, we said, Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed. That's a heavy thing to carry around. A lot of us grew up with an angry and punishing God that, was watching every move and was going to punish us, get mad at us. And so a lot of times we don't trust God. We're afraid of God, and we don't believe in a loving God. So many of us have done this sorting process, and I think when we find new thought, it feels like a breath of fresh air for a lot of us. But we all may still have a little bit of that sorting out to do to truly trust God in all things. There's a cute little lesson in here I'd like to read you from Iyanla. She calls it Lessons from the Story of Noah's Ark. Do you remember Noah built this ark and everybody was saying, what are you doing? You're crazy, but he did it anyway. And he really had to have faith, didn't he, to not only build the ark, but survive the flood. So here's what she says, 11 empowering trust lessons that Noah's story embodies. Number 1, don't miss the boat. Number 2, remember that we're all in the same boat. 3, plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. 4, stay fit. When you're 600 years old, someone may ask you to do something really big. 5, don't listen to critics, just get on with the job that needs to be done. 6, build your future on high ground, which may not be ground you're familiar with. 7, for safety's sake, travel in pairs. 8, speed isn't always an advantage. The snails were on board with the cheetahs. 9, when you're stressed, just float a while. 10, remember the ark was built by amateurs, the Titanic by professionals. And finally, number 11, no matter how bad the storm is, when you are with God, there's always a rainbow waiting. Remember at the end, there was the rainbow and the dove with a twig, and that was a sign, a promise that things were going to be okay. Things are always going to be okay. I think a lot of you will probably remember the old joke. There's a man hiking on a very treacherous path. It's rocky and narrow and steep, and he trips and falls over the side of the cliff. And he manages to grab onto a branch as he's falling and hangs on for dear life. And it isn't long before he realizes he can't hang on forever. So he realizes he needs help. He yells, "Is anybody up there?" And a voice says, "Yes, I'm here." And he yells up, "Who's that?" The voice says, "It's God." "Help me, God." The voice says, "Do you trust me?" "Yes, I trust you completely." "Good, then let go of the branch." "What?" "I said, let go of the branch." Long period of silence. The man says, "Anybody else up there?" Thank you for laughing. I think you've probably heard that one before. But don't we do that? Don't we do that? We're hanging on to that branch. Our guidance is clear. We got that gut feeling that won't let go. It's gnawing at us and gnawing at us. You need to let go of that job, or you need to let go of that relationship, or you need to let go of that habit, or you need to let go of that belief about yourself. And what do? We go into fear, we go into disbelief. Any other way I could deal with this? I don't want to let go and trust. But there's no other way. There really isn't. God always knows best. And if we're tuned in and we have developed that relationship, that personal, there's a bumper sticker on a car in my neighborhood when I walk, and it says, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. And I'm pretty sure they mean with Jesus, which is fine, but it's not a religion in general. It's a relationship with the Almighty. It's the relationship with the Creator. It's relationship with that intuitive voice of wisdom and love that's always right here when we tune in. Ianla says in the book, there's really only one thing you have to trust in when it comes to God, that everything is at all times just as it needs to be. That's a hard one sometimes. She talks about seasons. We don't question in the winter. We may not like the winter, and we may be anxious for summer, but we don't question whether we're going to see a growth in the spring and new growth and trees and flowers and so on. In the summer, we enjoy ourselves, but we know winter's coming. In the fall, it's okay that the leaves are falling. We know that, right? We trust that even in the winter, there's activity going on underneath the surface of the soil, and we're going to have, but in our lives when we go through seasons, and we do, and they don't always match the seasons of the earth, right? When we're losing things and the leaves are falling, we tend to panic and want to hang on. When it's a season of winter and it's quiet and we're called to go within and spend a lot of time in contemplation and quiet, we yearn for the summer when we were happy. When it's summer, we figure we want to be happy all the time. And it just does not work that way. And some of our biggest gifts come from our biggest challenges. We say that in foundations class. A breakdown of some sort is always followed by a breakthrough. And the bigger the breakdown, the bigger the breakthrough. I bet you all have an example of that in your own lives. So when I say that everything works together for our good and that everything is there for a purpose, I even mean health issues. What I've learned in my counseling and in my studying is that oftentimes when we're experiencing a disease or some kind of symptom in our health, it's there to give us a message if we listen. Did you ever discover that? We do a meditation in our classes where I learned in ministerial school from Dr. Martin Rossman, who teaches a guided imagery process where you let a symptom come to mind, you let an image come to mind to represent a physical ailment, and you dialogue with it. And really, really almost always there's some message for you. Perhaps it's, I've been pushing myself too hard, I need to slow down. Perhaps it's, you've been punishing yourself, you need to get a better outlook on yourself. You're good, you're capable, you're strong. Perhaps it's, I need to let go of a relationship or a job or whatever. But oftentimes, that very discomfortable, uncomfortable, dis-ease is there with a message for you, with a gift for you, if we know how to tune in. Yes? And sometimes a way to do that is just to journal. If I'm experiencing a physical symptom, journal. What's your lesson? What am I to learn through this experience? What is the gift in it for me? I have to retrieve a little book that I hope is here. There was a beautiful poem I heard last week when I went to a United Church of Christ Tithes service in Ashland with a friend. And I went and ordered this book. It's called Soul Weavings, a gathering of women's prayers. And this is really a prayer about trusting the seasons in our lives. It's from the Iona community in Scotland, a Christian community. You keep us waiting, you, the God of all time, want us to wait for the right time in which to discover who we are, where we must go, who will be with us, and what we must do. So thank you for the waiting time. You keep us looking, you, the God of all space, want us to look in the right places and the wrong places for signs of hope, for people who are hopeless, for visions of a better world that will appear among the disappointments of the world we know. So thank you for the looking time. You keep us loving, you, the God whose name is love, want us to be like you, to love the loveless and the unlovely and the unlovable, to love without jealousy or design or threat, and most difficult of all, to love ourselves. So thank you for the loving time. And in all this, you keep us through hard questions with no easy answers, through failing where we hope to succeed, and making an impact when we felt we were useless, through the patience and the dreams and the love of others, and through Jesus Christ and his Spirit, you keep us. So thank you for the keeping time, and for now and forever. Amen. Isn't that lovely? Somebody reminded me this week, it was Kathy Green, our board president, about the practice of a God box. I was dealing with an issue in my life, and she said what she does, and I forgot, I've done this in the past. So if there's an issue that is making you uncomfortable, having you experience discomfort, you write out the issue, and you place it in your God box, and then you forget about it. I mean, you can pray, because God knows how to resolve that, right? Sometimes we just don't know. But I think it's a real visual, symbolic representation of letting go and letting God, turning it over to the God box. So there was one part of one of those quotes that I wanted to explore. Let's see. It was about being called according to his purpose. I can't remember. Trust in the Lord your God with all your heart was one of my favorites. That's Proverbs. Oh, it was the Romans quote, I think. All things work together for the good. Yeah, all things work together for the good for those who love God. And the second part of that is who are called according to his purpose or her purpose. And what does that mean? I think we're all called. We're all given a set of unique gifts and passions and capabilities, and we're all called to use them to serve the good of everyone around us in some way. So again, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your understanding. All things work together for the good. All things. For those who love God, and we can't love God if we don't know God, if we're not having that spiritual practice time in the morning, and for those who are called according to his purpose. In other words, we listen and we follow guidance. And if the guidance says let go, we let go of the branch. All right. Finally, I wanted to give an example. There's so many beautiful examples in history of people who have indeed walked by faith and not by sight. And because it's Black History Month, I've chosen to just remind us of the incredible story of courage of Harriet Tubman, a young woman who was brutally treated when she was enslaved, who managed to escape. And what did she do? She went back to the South 13 times, rescuing her family, rescuing 70 people, never lost one. And she had this gift, you know, they traveled by night usually, so they wouldn't be seen. And she had this uncanny guidance that if there was danger or dogs or, you know, people tracking escaped slaves, she would stop or she would divert. She just always was guided because she listened. But talk about embracing discomfort. Unbelievable. Then later on, she became a spy for the Union Army. And just what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story of courage. And I'm also reminded, I don't know, those of you who read the Science of Mind magazine, this morning's reading by this beautiful female Black minister, Andriette Earle. She talked about the difficulty as a Black woman being proud of her heritage, her history, with this horrible, you know, history of slavery, and then the systemic racism which has continued in our country. But she said, you know, and I didn't know this, There's a story in 1619 about a ship that arrived in Plymouth, Massachusetts, a year before the Mayflower, bringing slaves. They were here, and she said, you know, the incredible wealth of this country was built initially because of the hard labor and sweat off the backs of black slaves. Now, granted, they were slaves and they didn't choose to do it, but she was able to kind of be proud of that heritage and that strength and what they did for this country. And I'm thinking that all of us who have experienced prejudice or oppression of some sort, whether it's sexism, racism, homophobia, you name it, there's so many isms. You know, we too, in order to trust ourselves, because remember the book is trust yourself, trust God, trust others, trust the world. So we have a journey, most of us in some way, and if we don't fit into one of those categories where there's an ism, we still were hurt. We still got messages about our self-worth. We have to work through those and heal those in order to trust ourselves and then in order to trust God. So wrapping this up, my friends, I love what Eleanor Roosevelt said. Do one thing every day that scares you. Pretty good idea, all right? Let's do one thing every day that scares us. Let's listen within. Let's follow guidance. Let's be willing to let go of that branch, whatever it is, when our guidance says it's time to let go and let God. Let's us go into prayer. I'm thinking of that beautiful, beautiful life of Harriet Tubman, who walked by faith, not by sight, who was willing to give up her own comfort and place of safety in the North to go back to the South to rescue fellow slaves. We talked last week about we can't all do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. We are each emanations of that one holy presence, that almighty presence, that source of all good, God, Spirit, whatever we call it. It is love, it is infinite intelligence, it is absolute possibility and generosity. And when we can trust that possibility and generosity of God, we can let go of our small-minded need to hang on to the status quo, knowing that everything that happens for us happens for our good, knowing that when we trust God and we are called according to her purpose, great things happen in our own lives and in the lives of others. So my prayer this week is that we listen, that we learn to trust and honor the divine as ourselves, and that we deepen our walk by faith. We deepen our discernment of the board and the different voices in our head to hear truly what the voice of God, what the voice of our higher self is urging us to do or not to do. When we become clear in the trusting ourselves, trusting God, miracles happen. All things are possible, and all things do indeed work together for the good. So let us as individuals, let us as a faith community be willing to have the hard conversations, to make changes, to embrace the discomfort, knowing that in the end it's transformative, that we grow in faith and love and community, and that we help transform not only our lives, but the lives of our planet, the lives of the world. In great gratitude for these beautiful teachings, and great gratitude for everyone here, those watching online, and great gratitude for all faith communities, no matter where they may be worshiping this morning. There is one God, one life, many paths to get there. So I simply release this word, knowing as all prayers, it is already heard. It is done in the mind of the divine, so I let it go. I let God be God, and we say together, so it is, amen.
A song by a friend of ours, Jamie Lula.
walk a mile or a minute in another man's shoes. He's got a path to take to find his truth. Any way you spin it, he's a lot like you, finding his faith on roads that you'd never choose. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Don't let it cloud your vision. Love be your only mission always. Let go the old condition. Let love be your only mission always. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Tell a tale, you're in it. Hear a brother man's blues. Got a destination now and no excuse. Why do you condemn it when it's not your own? You can't unsee it once the light has shone. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Don't let it cloud your vision. Love be your only mission always. Let go the old condition. Let love be your only mission always. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. One foot in front of the other, hand in hand, one with another. Walk with your sister and brother always. One foot in front of the other, hand in hand, one with another. Walk with your sister and brother always. Don't let it cloud your vision. Love be your only mission always. Let go the old condition. Let love be your only mission always. Don't let it cloud your vision. Let love be your only mission always. Let go the old condition. Let love be your only mission always. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Keep on walking.
Time now for our tithes and offerings. I'm going to invite our ushers to come on up. We are always grateful for the generosity in this community, and a reminder that we tithe 10% of what we receive. Part of that goes to our home office, and this month, part of it is going to continue to support Habitat for Humanity in Ashland, all-faith build. Those of you online, thank you for your support, and you can always donate by going to www.cslroguevalley.org. So if you wouldn't mind blessing the basket if you give online and saying the affirmation with me, or after me if you would. Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
Dharma, hey to Prabhava, hey to Te Sham Tathagata Yavata, Te Sham Cha, Yonirona, Evam Vadi Mahashramana, hey Dharma, hey to Prabhava, hey to Te Sham Tathagata Yavata, Te Sham Cha, Yonirona. Prabhava. Hey, to te sham ta ta ga to hi ava. Te sham cha. Yona roha. Hey, Vambadi Mahashrama. Hey, Dharma. Hey, to Prabhava. Hey, to te sham ta ta ga to hi ava. Te sham cha. Yona roha. Hey, Vambadi Mahashrama. Evam Vadi Mahashramana. Evam Vadi Mahashramana.
Thank you, you two. A few announcements. Let's see. Anita Streetman, raise your hand. Where are you? Anita, oh, she's in the other room already, I think. Okay, she's in the other room. Anita is gifting her artwork with inspiring quotes. She has probably almost enough to give each person here a gift, so please see her. Talk about, being called and following your call and using it for the good of others. And another talented young woman in our, I'll call you younger because I think you're younger than me, Krista. Are you here? She's probably in there too. Krishna Vrudny has amazing artwork, and she is selling some of her artwork and generously donating a portion to this center. So please check out the beautiful works of both these women in the social hall. By the way, please join us in the social hall for Michael's soup and cake, birthday cake from Ginny. Thank you, Ginny. Let's see. There are items in the Lost and Found. I'm going to put pictures in this week's, but there are 3 jackets. I'm going to put pictures in this week's newsletter and some glasses and some water bottles. So there's a box in the office, and then there's coats hanging in the hallway by the restrooms. Ellen Michaels has an announcement. Ellen is always got something cooking, doesn't she? And she has a travel club, so she has a quick announcement for you.
Just a quick announcement that we're going to be meeting this Thursday from 3:30 to 5, and it will be on the second Thursday of each month.
And just a bit about what
Here,
you do.
yes.
And what are you doing? What?
We're bringing ideas. We really want to maybe do some overnights, like go up and see the sandcastle competition. We want to maybe go down to the caves in Shasta, various things. So if you have ideas, maybe you want to go to Mexico and want people to go with, we're open.
Thank you, Ellen. Whoops. All right, I'm just going to put that here for now. A couple other things. Men's group meets here at 11 a.m. tomorrow. All men are welcome. Women's drumming meets here tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Actually, it's going to be 6:30 from now on.
Thank you, Joy. 6:30. If you could remember to send me an email, we'll change that in the newsletter too. 6:30, women's drumming. Unity Prayer and Reading Group and Tai Chi meet at 10:30 and 11:30 respectively on Tuesdays. Coming up on March 3rd, Bodhi Sechko, sorry, friends of Anton and Laura's, who lives in Shasta, used to be the musical director at one of the big centers.
Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living.
Thank you. He is coming to be our musical guest artist on March 3rd, and he's doing a sound bath after service, which sounds wonderful. There are details in the newsletter. There is a love offering asked, but it'll be a very relaxing, healing time,
People can ask us more.
They know more about it. Okay. Finally, I just wanted to acknowledge that 5 of us, including myself, attended the Homelessness Summit in Ashland yesterday. And I got to tell you, learned a lot about the history and why we have such a crisis in homelessness right now. And the bad news is we are among the worst in the nation about people that are unhoused per capita. The good news is Jackson County in particular has really been working hard to rectify that, and has made a dent to tip that terrible graph that keeps going up to start coming down, because we have managed to, in many ways, provide affordable housing. So there's a lot of awareness and a huge, huge loving group of people that came together yesterday all day to talk about it and plan what we can do. So thank you to all those who joined us. And let's see, if you don't receive our weekly e-newsletter, there's a sign-up sheet in the social hall. There's a prayer box in the back of the auditorium there, the sanctuary for CSL, and there's one in the Bosworth Hall for Unity. It is our pleasure, our ecclesiastical team, to to pray for you. So I'm going to invite our practitioners and ministers in the room to please come forward. Yes.
If I'm bringing on the 11th,
Uh-huh. Tamales?
tamales, please bring cash because I'm paying for it.
Okay, if you're picking your tamales up for Northwest Seasonal Workers Association from Virginia, please bring cash with you, not a check. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Virginia, for doing that. All right, I have a little benediction to read to you again from the Soul Weaving's book. Not all of us will decide to bungee jump, I'm sure. But I think we are all called to paths unknown. And so this is a beautiful little prayer. Oh, ministers and practitioners, come on up. Come on up. Remember that they are available for a quick 5-minute miracle prayer. Do not leave here with a heavy heart, please. It's the pleasure and honor of these people to pray for you. So here's the benediction. This comes from the Lutheran Book of Worship. O Lord God, who has called us your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden and through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where to go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us always. Amen. Closing song.
All right, please stand and we'll sing to ourselves and each other today.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. So if you know it, go ahead and turn to someone else. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. So let's sing it to ourselves. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deep